For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Today, Italian President Sergio Mattarella swore in Italy's new government led by Mario Draghi, former head of the European Central Bank. The new government is the result of weeks of negotiation and will take the shape of a national unity government with almost all parliamentary parties forming a grand coalition. Prime Minister-designate Mario Draghi gained enough support on Friday evening and unveiled a cabinet that mixed unaffiliated technocrats with politicians from across his broad coalition. Luigi Di Maio, a leader of the Five Star Movement, will remain foreign minister, while Giancarlo Giorgetti, a senior figure in the League Party, will be industry minister. Some key posts went to non-affiliated technocrats, including Daniel Franco, Director General of the Bank of Italy, who was named as Economy Minister, and Roberto Cingolani, a physicist and IT expert, who was handed the new role of Minister for Green Transition. Next week, there will be debates in both houses of Parliament, where Draghi will unveil his policy plans and face votes of confidence, a formality given his cross-party backing. Draghi received a boost on Thursday when the largest group in Parliament, the Five Star Movement, agreed to support the government, meaning it will have such a large majority that no single party will have the numbers to bring it down. The next Italian parliamentary election will take place in 2023. The autonomous community of Catalonia will head to the polls for a regional election on Sunday. The vote comes after the previous regional government fell in connection with the legal process the Spanish government launched against it for organizing an unauthorized independence referendum in 2017. The regional election will take place despite the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic, during which Catalonia has been the second worst-hit region in Spain. Despite the fact that hospitals are still under intense pressure, authorities have taken a controversial decision to allow COVID-positive voters to go in person to cast their votes. The truth is that the Electoral Board will decide at that time. In principle, it is something voluntarily, and no one can be forced to come at a certain time, but we rely on the responsibility of people, and, in any case, the measures that we have in place are of very high protection and security. That is to say that we are not afraid of that. Election officials were asked to wear hazmat suits and personal protection equipment starting at 6 p.m. GMT, coinciding with the earliest time slot available to people who have tested positive for COVID-19. Around a third of people chosen by lottery to serve as election officials have asked to be exempted. Tranquilidad. I want to send a message of tranquility, security. Each neighbor who wants to vote has to know that he will be able to exercise his right freely with maximum security because we will guarantee exemplary compliance with the security measures. Ejemplar de las medidas de seguridad. Catalonia's election is viewed as a litmus test for the region's separatist movement. Two pro-independence parties currently govern the region, but opinion polls are split on who might win the election. People living near the city of Płock can breathe a bit easier today as weather conditions have improved. Sub-zero temperatures combined with heavy winds caused ice jams on the Vistula River, leading to high water and a risk of flooding. With temperatures rising to around 0 Celsius, icebreakers can now be sent out to start to clear the navigation channel for shipping. Water levels on the Vistula River near Campo Polska, located 20 kilometers upstream from Płock, have slowly dropped since Friday, though a red alert flood warning is still in effect despite improved conditions. On Wednesday, an ice jam started forming, threatening low-lying areas near Płock with flooding. The Institute of Meteorology and Water Management released a report indicating the water level is dropping swiftly. The Polish National Water Board reported that the icebreakers have to clear some distance before reaching the areas most affected by the ice. China has refused to give raw data on early COVID-19 cases to a World Health Organization-led team probing the origins of the pandemic. Beijing's decision to withhold such information is expected to complicate efforts to understand how the outbreak began. Dominic Dwyer, an Australian infectious disease expert who is a member of the investigative medical team, told the press that his team had requested raw patient data on the 174 cases of COVID-19 identified in the Chinese city of Wuhan in December 2019, but were only provided with a summary.
If you're really trying to go back to the very beginning to try and understand the sources, in the ideal world, you would go through it patient by patient by patient. And that's what we call a line listing. Now, obviously, all of that stuff is anonymous. You don't want the patient names or anything, but you want the details on, what were the questions asked, what were the responses, and what were the sort of analyses of the data. And that's standard practice for an outbreak investigation. In this situation, the Chinese gave us the results. We would have liked, I guess, to have seen the raw data, but that can still come.
The World Health Organization-led probe had been plagued by delay, concern over access, and bickering between Beijing and Washington. U.S. officials accused China of hiding the extent of the initial outbreak and criticized the terms of the visit under which Chinese experts conducted the first phase of research. The Australian expert says it's unlikely the virus escaped from a lab, but that it can't be ruled out.
It was highly unlikely. Always possible, but highly unlikely. So then you turn to what are the more likely scenarios, and such as the bat and animal interaction and so on, because that's where you probably want to focus more work on to try and get the answers. So that was the feeling. Nothing was excluded, but we, I guess, rated what we thought were the most likely to the least likely without excluding anything.
The World Health Organization has stated that a summary of the team's findings could be released as early as next week. For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Good night.